Hi everybody and welcome to another episode of The Creative Heart. My name is Gideon, I'm also known as Gideon's Light, and I'm your creatively fit coach. Welcome to the studio, and today I'm going to be showing you how you can do speed painting. Yes, you heard me right. I'm going to be doing a hydrangea landscape in 15 minutes. Impossible? Well, let me show you how. This is what I created today, and yes, I did take a little bit more than 15 minutes, but as you'll see in this video, I will do most of it in 15 minutes. And I'm so excited to share this exercise with you because this is one of the ways that I loosen up. And especially after completing a big project that you had to focus on a lot of detail, sometimes I personally just want to break free and express myself and sort of break the rules, right? Well, this is how we do that, and if you only have a very little time in the studio and you want to continue with your creative practice, then this may be a way for you to get into your paintings and train your eye to analyze the shapes and colors and mix it really on the palette as you go. So I'm excited to share this exercise with you today. So let me turn the camera around and let's get right into it. Hi you guys, and welcome to my studio. I didn't plan to record anything today as I was recovering from yesterday's painting in the park, but after resting this morning I feel like I want to play a little bit in the studio and create something. So I thought of one of the exercises that I like to do is to give myself a time limit with an image and to see how quickly I can produce that image. Now the reason for this exercise is to loosen up and to really train the eye to observe the image that you're using and to mix color and to get into it as quickly as possible. So I'm using a free image from unsplash.com. Thank you for this wonderful material that we can use as artists, and I'm really just using it as an exercise today to demonstrate how you can play with your art materials and to loosen up in your studio, especially if you have limited time. Now, as a creatively fit coach, I do like to encourage my clients to have a creative practice of some sorts. And you might think like limiting time could be, how can that be useful? But like I said, it really helps you to observe the image and to familiarize yourself with your art materials and to really think in the process and be intuitive about it and to interpret what you see as loosely as possible. And it is sometimes amazing what you are able to produce in a short period of time, and then obviously afterwards you are more than welcome to finish it off or to add a little bit more detail. So this image is of hydrangeas at the coast. So it's lots of blues and whites and greens. But I've decided to make one or two of these heads of hydrangeas a little bit more towards the pink side. And I'm also going to be using unconventional tools. So what have I got here? It is Quan Lily powder puff. It is a kind of a latex dual purpose makeup applicator. And I do like these round sponges with a bit of a tip because they are really easy to hold. I can wash them afterwards. You can see I've used this one before. They're lovely if you have to stencil something. So, it's great sometimes to walk around in the department stores and see what is available and how you can use that as a tool. What I also have here is just a palette knife because I will need some sharp, pointy kind of things, a tool to mimic those leaves that is standing up, and maybe some structure, we'll see. And then I also have just a palette board upon which I can then mix color and then bring it to my canvas. So I'll put that aside. And then what I have here is just canvas. You buy them in pads, and this is an A3 size that I just given a layer of geisha, and I've just taped off the sides just so that when we are done with the exercise, there's a nice clean edge that gives the framing person some space to work with, because you don't want to lose half of your image into a frame should you want to frame this, because it's not stretched canvas, it's just a canvas board. I think it's got 10 sheets inside of it, and I quite like to play on these because it's not precious, and it sort of works like a stretched canvas in that sense, and it's a little bit sturdier and firm, which is nice for working on a table. But this is my exercise canvas sheets that I can just tear off, and it's not precious, so I really do enjoy playing with this in my studio. So what I would like to say for you is you can give yourself just a basic layout here of your image. Forgive me. So I'm just using a piece of hard charcoal here, and I'm just gonna draw my horizon line just to give myself an idea of where what will be. So then I basically also know that some of the leaves that is standing out here will roughly be in this position, and I'm just going to give myself a basic structure so that I know where I'm sort of aiming with my color roughly. So it's not a detailed sketch, it's really loose, and I just want to give myself some indication of where my subjects are positioned, so I get just familiar with the space that I have around me. Okay, so I'm gonna get my clock starting. I've set up a clock for 15 minutes, and before I do that, you're also allowed to dispense any of the color that you feel you might need, because you don't want to waste time struggling to open a cap that's maybe stuck, so that the time that you have is really directly from the palette onto the canvas. So I'm going to pause the video and dispense my colors, and then when we get back, we're going to get into this 15-minute exercise. Alrighty guys, I've set up myself for this exercise, and I hope you can see a little bit of the image there on my camera as well. So I've got a range of color here, from pink, very light yellow, titanium white, cyan blue, yes, cyan blue, turquoise, arctic blue, cobalt blue, let me just check that, sorry, yes, cobalt blue, violet, and we have viridian green, sap green, and lemon yellow. So I'm going to try my best with that palette, and I'm going to be playing with a sponge. I think to make my life a little bit easier, I'm just going to dip it in some water and squeeze the water out so that it's not dripping, but it is sort of activated, and it will help me just to spread my paint a little bit easier. I'm just going to move that to the side. And then I think last but not least, before we get into this, have a kitchen towel handy, and just take a deep breath in, and let's have fun with this exercise as I allow myself to get into this with my clock. So holding thumbs, let's get into it. Alrighty then. Okie dokie, so thinking about all of my colors here, I think I'm gonna grab some of the manganese blue here. I think I'm gonna hold the palette in my hand, it will be easier for me, and some white. Now that is very, very dark, that almost looks more like the sea. So I'm gonna work in my paint here, and you can see how I play with this applicator. And my air conditioner is on in the studio, so the paint can dry very quickly on me, and my canvas board is very thirsty, so remembering the aim of the game is to be loose and to have fun and not to overly worry about details. I've got some blue and turquoise here, going for a bit of a darker horizon now. Working into my hydrangeas. I think that's good enough. Right. I think I'm going to jump down into my sap green and just work this as an underpainting. That will just help me to ground my hydrangeas. Let's add some viridian and violet to my sponge. Now violet helps me to darken my green, and it sort of gives me living shadows, because it is very easy to get sort of an overkill of one shade of green, and I don't like using black for shadows. I like using black in more kind of abstract kind of art pieces, which I suppose this is, but black can be very overpowering. Okay, I'm spending way too much time on this. It's like I'm aware of the time and I am wanting to get to the flowers. Right, I'm going to rinse this. You can always also have more than one sponge available. Don't have to waste time, you know, washing a sponge, but you know, it won't kill me. And it gives me time to think and reflect a little bit. And it also gives these initial layers a little bit of time to dry. Let's get into some of these yellows. I think as a foundation, I think it will give me a bit of background here, because I can always work with a pink over that. Now this is really a student grade yellow. It's a new brand I discovered, Art Ranges from Japan. It's really cheap, but I do love their pastels. It is just so much fun to play with. And again, sometimes it's great to have art materials that you don't take yourself so seriously. And just play and see what you can get out of it and go from there. Now, I did say I want to make some of them pink, so I think these two bushes here might be great to see in the pink. Rinsing out. It is handy to have some buckets of water nearby to make your life a little bit easier. And that kitchen towel. Right, let's get into some of these blues. I'm going to be loading my little sponge with a lot of white and then getting into the blues here. So I've got a bit of Arctic blue, white and manganese blue. And just begin to talk about these hydrangea bushes. There's a bit of blue in this one. I mean, how quick is that? So if you almost stop the timer now, you already have sort of a composition on your board. That could read as hydrangeas because of its circular forms and shapes. All right. So now I'm focusing, now that I've got the shapes in there, I'm focusing on sort of where the light is hitting my flowers and sort of playing on those highlights a little bit more and the brightness of those areas. I just added a little bit of yellow there to strengthen some of that yellow undertone. And then I will use a medium tone in the middle. Just looking at my reference material. Right. I'm going to give that a good rinse. We've got 6 minutes left. So now I want to focus on a little bit of the darks. And I think I'm going to switch now to my palette knife. And I'm going to dispense a little bit more of my sap green. And I'm just going to bring this a little bit upwards so you guys can maybe see the palette. Let me turn it around so that you guys can see. And I'm also going to dispense a lot more white onto my palette here. And I think with 5 minutes left, I must make sure that I get these little leaf shapes in. Really just trying to talk about some leaf shapes here. Now, I'm not an expert at palette knife at all. I'm going to talk about these textures a little bit. Let's mix in a bit of the violet into the green so that we create a bit of a darker. We can even add a bit of blue in there. These leaves are quite dark. 4 minutes left. Oh my goodness. This is exciting as you feel the rush of time. And you just want to talk about a bit of these details. So you see, you don't get that much time to mix things, so you're almost having to compensate and definitely talk less. Okie dokie. 3 minutes. Really working on these shadows here a little bit. Alrighty, let's wipe that off and go in for the kill with a lot of highlights. Oh my goodness, 2 minutes. We have some highlights over here. This is definitely one way to loosen up and not take yourself so seriously. I'm going to grab another one of these little sponges if I can get the bag open, because I do want to just dab a little bit. A little bit more of this light yellow, somewhere right here where the white is. And of course, if your paint is very wet, which it is because I've got such an impasto kind of application here, it will all add to the texture. Let's wipe off. Bit more white. 51 seconds. 70 seconds to go. How much love can you show? You guys know that song? Oh my goodness. So really just playing on the highlight bits here. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There we are. Our alarm is ringing. Awesomeness. Dismiss. Right, so again, remember this is just a creativity exercise that really helps you to look at your material, familiarize yourself more with the rough shapes and where the light and shadows are of your subject. And it really helps you to loosen up a little bit and not to take every painting project so seriously. And in doing that, you sort of begin to learn to trust your own intuition and your own little vibe, so that you don't, overthink things. especially if you've just finished a serious painting. I'm fiddling with my finger now. I think I've made my point. So while this is still wet, I'm just going to do some finger painting while I'm talking to you guys. So what I was saying is, when you've just finished a serious painting where you really focused in on a lot of detail, you know, and you might find yourself having a little bit of a creative burnout, or you don't know which project to sort of begin with next. There's ideas, but like the inspiration is running low. I do believe that you can, you know, suffer from creative, you know, burnout a little bit, in the sense if you've had to work like something like a show or an event. It can really take up a lot of your energy that you spend maybe with folks, giving of yourself. So this is my way to come back into the studio and to just play and have a little bit of fun and not take myself so seriously, and really just nourish my inner child and say, okay, you know what, today we are just going to play and have fun and express ourselves, and not be so concerned with producing anything per se. Just have fun, play with your art materials, and become inspired again, because you're nourishing your creative mind, and you are opening yourself up to just playing with your art materials again. That's really, really helpful in just filling up your creative cup again. And then when you come back to the studio with another serious project, or you are ready to, you know, invest again in something a little bit more substantial, then you have that resources within you, and this is added to the brush miles of your, you know, creative arsenal. So when you sort of get into another project again, it is easier for you to just follow your own gut instinct and really get into that next project with less fear. Because I think there's something that happens with all of us when we, especially if you've created something successful that maybe you've sold, and you're under that pressure now to sort of keep producing material on that level. It can become very exhausting. So doing little exercises like this helps you just to open up and loosen up and trust yourself, and dive right into the next project. So I'm just going to use my palette knife here just to draw in some textures that sort of talks about the leaf structures that I'm seeing. Because the paint is quite impasto, it's not dry yet, so I'm able to add a little bit of sort of detail there that completes sort of the mental picture of what it is that the viewer is looking at. So you say, okay, you know, those are leaves and those are structures, like that. So there you go. I mean, I did take a bit longer than 15 minutes now, but you know, I think the 15-minute exercise in general was very well demonstrated here. How you can really get into your subject with a really quick movement of hand, and really observe what you're looking at and try to render that in your own way. And I think that's a great thing to go and try out in your studio. So here's my challenge to you. What can you do with a 15-minute paint challenge? Give yourself the challenge and take a photograph of the end product and share it with me on the Creative Heart. That is my private Facebook group where I can support you, and where we have a lot of friends that participate in everything that we do. And if you would like to dive a little bit deeper with me, do check out my Patreon page. I offer a lot of exclusive content to my Patreons. We've recently had a lot of fun during the month of October creating our Buddha full paintings. So I also would like to ask my community, what is it that you would like to see next or more of? I'm really curious to know what you enjoy on my channel so that I know what I can sort of make more episodes of. Do you enjoy the painting stuff more? Do you enjoy the collage more? I really am curious to find out. So please drop me a comment and tell me what it is that you would like to see more of on my channel. And who knows, maybe I will entertain you in that way. So remember to subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss out on a single episode, because I do weekly episodes, and I'm planning quite an exciting January, because January month is a good month for setting goals and seeing what you can do differently to what you did last year. Because I think a lot of people sort of just wish for a happy new year, but we got right into our previous old sort of behaviors, and we don't have a different year. We have a replica of the year before, the one we've just finished. So if you want to have a different 2024, then you need to make some decisions and you need to make some changes. Otherwise, it will just be the same. So January month, I'm planning to paint with you guys a dream catcher, and we're going to talk a little bit about setting goals and manifesting our better future by using the canvas as a way to activate our dreams and our goals and our plans for the year. So do check that out. I will start sharing a little bit more of that information as soon as I am ready to share it with you guys, and that will definitely be a bigger focus for my patrons this year. So if you want to get into that, then definitely get into my Patreon page. All of the recent content of the Buddha Full October is available to you guys 24/7 in a paint along style kind of journey. So do check it out, and I will see you guys next week in another episode of The Creative Heart. So thanks for watching, and bye-bye for now. Okay guys, it's dry, well, sort of. So I want to just take the tape off to show you guys what it would look like. Like I said, it's sort of dry, but I always like the reveal. And I think while it's slightly wet, it might pull off a little bit cleaner. That's what I'm convincing myself. Now these strips that you pull off, you can always use again, like washi tape in a collage. So you don't have to throw anything away. And it's also always a great idea to pull away from your art. I sort of learned that from watercolor, but sometimes the tape itself can tear. Now because this is canvas, it's very strong, so I'm not scared that the canvas will get damaged. I just don't want to pull any paint into the painting. But yeah, acrylic paint is pretty forgiving. So there we go. Sticky. Sorry guys. You see what I mean with having a little bit of a border? All of a sudden it feels like it's framed, So that's really cool. So I'm going to bring this closer to you guys and just roam around a little bit, and just so you can see the textures and movement and feeling there of all the marks that I created using sponges, palette knife, and my fingers, really, for that matter. So it's not complicated at all. And I think when you play with bigger using tools like that, it sort of also helps you interpret immediately a little bit more the direction of the subject that you're painting, so that when you do get into a serious painting, it's a little bit more, you know what to do with your brush in order to communicate what it is that you want to communicate. Now, I personally love playing with my oil pastels, but I have to wait for this to dry a little bit more, because I do want to show you guys how I sort of can finish this off a little bit more, add a bit more texture, and play a little bit more with those shadows and light. And sometimes it's just easier to do that with a dry medium. So I have to wait for this to dry a bit more, so I'll pause the video. Right, you guys, I'm back to this hydrangea exercise that I did earlier, and most of the paint is dried. So I want to just show you a possible way that you can finish this painting. So the first thing I want to correct is the horizon line. Now, to have a successful landscape, I always think it's good to have a very balanced and level horizon line, especially like if you're looking at the ocean, because it's a body of water and this is a perfect clear day. So if the water is at an angle, it will definitely make the viewer feel uncomfortable. So I'm digging into my oil pastels here as a way to correct this illusion here. I'm also just going to add a little bit of movement in the seawater. And I'm back to this awesome sponge of mine, and I'm just going to use this to blend my oil pastel a little bit. It's also water soluble, so you can also add a bit of water to this whole mixture. Now I'm trying to work on there, but you can always paint the sides white again. That's not the end of the world. Let's add a little bit more of this blue to help me. You can also use an earbud to blend your oil pastels in. And what I've done is I've stuck a piece of masking tape on the right level where I want the sea to meet the sky. Let me just use my finger to further blend this. Sometimes, your hands are your fingers are incredible tools. Never underestimate the power of your fingers in artwork. I think it's a matter of, you able to touch the medium, and you are able to feel where you're going with the product and what's happening. So I'm using a lighter blue now, just to create some movement in the water. And I mean, we don't have to blend that a lot. When the light catches on the sea and it makes those sparkles. In fact, I think here and there I'm going to grab my white and just lightly skip over the page and just add a little bit more drama here and there. Sparkles in the sea. Isn't that beautiful? Okay, cool. Let's look at our reference material again for some inspiration. Let's find that beautiful image that I got it Unsplash. I will look for the author of this beautiful image and thank them for offering it to us to use for free on unsplash.com. So if you're looking for reference material for your art, then definitely visit unsplash.com and see what that can offer you. Now I want to take this darker blue and just really work a little bit in the shadows, and I'm also just going to give sort of a little bit of C-shaped kind of movements to sort of further help me communicate the hydrangea flower shapes. There's a little bit of a shadow line moving through here. And really the viewer's mind completes so much of the image. You sort of just need to give it enough material to sort of digest what it is that you are looking at, and then the mind sort of does the rest. Isn't that amazing? I find that extremely interesting. Okay, that looks great. Okay, so let's grab this very dark purple as well. Of course, there's some areas here on the underneath that I think can do with a little bit of violet as well. And I'm not trying to completely recreate this entire painting. I'm just adding to the feeling by adding almost like layers of color that helps me to just communicate a little bit more of the detail that I'm seeing. I'm going to jump over to this pale yellow. It can be quite strong even though it's pale. So very lightly move over some of these areas where I see I need to do that. I think this is looking really nice. Just break that up a bit. Here's also a little bit of highlights. So I'm really just skipping over the page, and I'm not trying to talk about every little detail. I'm just adding some color where I feel it will complement the composition. This dark viridian green here at the bottom. Also helps to deepen. I'm also going to use this very light blue to just break up some of those finger marks a little bit. And add some detail here and there. I mean, this is already looking beautiful. And then last but not least, I'm going to play with a little bit of my magenta, just darkening some of the pinks on the underneath of these two bushes, and just bring some of that in. Hydrangeas have this amazing ability to play on some color that is unexpected. The lighter pink maybe here a little bit, And this, I think one of the reasons why hydrangeas is so beautiful to me is all of this amazing color that is available and the ranges of color that exists within a hydrangea. That to me really brings a full conclusion. I'm quite happy with what I created here. Let's pull off this final piece of, if I can get it off. I've sealed it down so good. Oh, now that did exactly what I wanted to do, and that is to pull off paint. So if you're scared you're going to pull off paint, forgive the noise, but it's good then to just warm up your masking tape. Sorry about that noise. I normally try to edit that out, but here we are. That's better. So if you warm up your masking tape, the glue sort of lets go of the paint, and then you are more likely to not damage your artwork. Remember, this is a very thin film of paint that we have on there, because I literally just smeared it very thinly. So I'm just going to use my light blue here just to fill that in. Awesomeness. And I mean, the sky turned out for me so amazing because it looks like clouds, because I didn't try to blend it to death. Like one of the artists I follow, he's really amazing in saying things like, you know, don't tickle it to death and don't spend too much time on one place, you know, otherwise you start adding too much, you want to start to add too much detail. So anyway, I really hope you enjoyed this exercise. So let me know what you think, and I'll see you again next week for another episode of The Creative Art. Bye-bye for now.